The following program is brought to you by Pizza Productions.
What it is, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an all-new episode of the Totally Unnecessary Wrestling Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Porter. Unfortunately, this week, Cody was not able to make the recording, due to his grandma passing away. So we send our condolences to Cody. But Cody definitely gave us the thumbs up, man. He's like, do it, Kevin. Report professional wrestling to the masses. So this podcast is all about what this week was in the week of professional wrestling. Yeah, man. Raw and SmackDown took place from London, England this past Monday and Tuesday, and I always thought those were kind of interesting days. You definitely had to kind of stay off the internet. It's not like anything major was ever going to happen, at a London, England show, but, AJ Styles did technically win the World Championship last November at a London SmackDown. So I guess, anything can fucking happen, but the one major thing coming out of this week is we have Nia Jax defending the Raw Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey. So that's very interesting. It's got a lot of people talking right now. A lot of people are interested in the fact that they're moving forward rather quickly in terms of, I guess it's kind of like you don't want to waste what you have with Ronda Rousey and just have her toil around with the rest of the divas there, Natalya and whatnot, and eventually have a match with her and Mickie James. And but it's interesting because it wasn't Ronda Rousey challenging Nia Jax; it was actually Nia Jax challenging Ronda Rousey. And I guess I could kind of get behind that. I'm sorry, but the promos were cringeworthy. I have to be completely upfront about that. But the concept though of the champion challenging the challenger, I mean, that's it's a novel concept. It doesn't happen all the time. So I guess that is somewhat interesting. So we'll see what happens at Money in the Bank. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, Nia Jax just won the World Championship at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, and Ronda Rousey just debuted basically at WrestleMania 34 as well, and they just got behind Nia Jax as this body positive, role model character, beat up the fucking bully bullshit, and one big fucking giant billboard, walking down the street there. But that, so they just established that. I mean, are they really going to just pull the trigger and let Ronda, win the championship at Money in the Bank? And then what? Flair? We have, Charlotte Flair and her at possibly SummerSlam? Because ultimately, I mean, I think that's something we can agree upon, is that they're moving towards ultimately Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair, which a lot of people were kind of pegging, okay, well, we can put a year build, into this here. It's not like they're building up to it at any point at this moment. But you know what I mean, though? Like, let Ronda Rousey establish dominance over the Raw Women's division. My pick for the Money in the Bank is Charlotte Flair. So I think Charlotte Flair has the Money in the Bank. It's Money in the Bank. You could show up wherever, and boom, WrestleMania 35 in New Jersey, New York. We see Charlotte Flair, challenge Ronda Rousey for the championship. Or, maybe it works vice versa and Ronda Rousey wins the Royal Rumble this year. I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. And I'm actually somewhat excited when I think about, letting them, a women's match finally main event WrestleMania. I think that's obviously the be all end all for whatever this women's revolution has been those last 3 to 4 years or whatever, however long it's been. That's it. I mean, that's your crowning achievement right there. And then, you have Charlotte Flair, which is basically she is the Hulk Hogan. She is, she is the main female wrestler, homegrown wrestler, if you want to call it that. But then you have Ronda Rousey coming from, the outside world, and it's like, that whole Mr. T. Not saying that, Ronda Rousey's fucking Mr. T or something, but like you get that whole celebrity, coming in, wrestling, and this is a little bit more. I don't know. It's a lot more intriguing, obviously, than Mr. T. But not okay. Get Mr. T the fuck out of here. I don't, you get the idea. The celebrity has always been, a long standing tradition when it comes to WrestleMania and whatnot. So it's fun. It's fun to see Ronda Rousey in a WWE ring, and I don't know, man. I just like this whole cross that's been going on with like the UFC and WWE. I enjoy MMA, and it's fun to see your Brock Lesnar go fight Mark Hunt, and then totally get busted for steroids, and basically WWE basically have to admit that their drug policy is bullshit, and people are excluded, i.e. fucking Brock Lesnar. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose. But it's fun to see Ronda Rousey in the WWE ring. So I think ultimately that's kind of what you would be going towards. But like if they're not going to WrestleMania and they're just doing it at SummerSlam, it's like, I guess, I don't know. I'll take the wait and see approach. We'll see what happens at Money in the Bank, and we'll kind of just see where we're gonna go from there in terms of the storyline and whatnot. So yeah, I totally called it fucking last week, Cody. I know you're gonna listen to this. I totally called it. They're totally going with the Jinder Mahal versus Roman Reigns match at Money in the Bank. Totally. Who the fuck wants to see this? I mean, why are they even bothered? I mean, Jinder, nobody likes Jinder Mahal, so I suppose if we put Roman Reigns against him, well, at that point, it's, people are just gonna love Roman Reigns. It's like, dude, I know I've been on record of totally being for Roman Reigns. I like Roman Reigns. I do. I think I like his matches. Like I've said in the past, like in recent years, in terms of like, not a lot of things get you excited about wrestling anymore. It takes a lot. But when AJ Styles first debuted in the WWE back in 2016, right after WrestleMania 32, he had a series of matches with Roman Reigns. It pitted like Roman Reigns and the Usos versus a then debuting Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, freshly off New Japan, just as much as AJ Styles was. And I popped for that shit. I was just like, that had me really excited back in 2016. I was like, the pairing was awesome. I mean, AJ Styles is the fucking heel. That's great. But, if you flipped it and you let Roman Reigns be that heel with the Usos, and you had like some sort of Samoan gangster SWAT team, modern, 2018 version, and, and Roman Reigns the head. Oh man, dude. It's the thing. It's like, as soon as he turns bad, everybody's going to want to cheer him. Because that's, dude, it's just, why the fuck do they not let it happen? It's like, I don't understand. Just because they don't have competition at this point, it's just like, well, fuck the fans, And it's not even necessarily fuck the fans. I understand, we have an idea, what we want and how we want to move forward. And, be all end all, Vince McMahon's going to be the one, signing off on everything. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's his call. And if, he's stuck, if they went through all those years with John Cena, it's not hard to see that we're gonna see the same shit with Roman Reigns. And it's like, it's just, but I don't know, it just seems like this is like worse than whatever John Cena had. Whatever heat John Cena had back in like, 2006, 2007, 2008, and moving forward, you've heard a lot more, cheers of women and children when it came to John Cena. It was a very more of a split. The men booed him, obviously the women and the children fucking cheer John Cena. But with Roman Reigns, it's a very deafening boo. You know what I mean? Like there's no question that the crowd is sick and tired of this bullshit, and I think it's really, he's getting the reverse Daniel Bryan treatment in the sense of, people are they're just for one reason or another, man. They're just sick of the character, and they're just sick of the fucking, my fucking yard routine. Da 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 da. I'm just a fucking badass Samoan fucking badass. Which, dude, again, in essence, is a great fucking gimmick. I mean, the fucking badass gimmick has worked for decades upon decades. Okay, so it's not like that gimmick is trash. It's just we basically have seen the same Roman Reigns since his debut back at Survivor Series in, I guess that was 2011. I think is when they debuted. Was that 2011? 2012? It would have been 2012. Okay, so yeah, Survivor Series 2012 was when the Shield debuted, and basically his character really hasn't evolved since then. And it's not saying that you have to like completely alter the character or anything of that nature, but let him go heel. You know, if the crowd wants to fucking boo him, let the fucking crowd dictate how you're going to run business. And I know they can't be the case with everything, but in certain situations where the crowd is heavily behind one person or is Braun Strowman, or is heavily booing somebody, Roman Reigns. Well, obviously we were talking about Roman Reigns. What the fuck is stopping them from moving forward and going with that? I don't understand from a business standpoint where Vince McMahon gets off that. I mean, I guess it's just the millions and billions of dollars at that point. Like, where do you really give a fuck at that point? I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess if I tried to put myself in that position of being Vince McMahon, like, do I really give a fuck what Kevin Porter is saying on a fucking podcast and fucking bumfuck Washington State? Like, no, I don't, and we just it's the fucking money, man. That's the answer. It's the fucking money. So I don't know, dude. Jinder Mahal versus fucking Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank, which pretty sure Jinder Mahal is gonna be faced by the end of this feud. I think it's gonna fucking happen. Basically, so yeah, Monday Night Raw was, it started off with the whole Nia Jax fucking Ronda Rousey segment. We ran into Roman Reigns coming out and basically just being a bitch about fucking Jinder Mahal. Throughout the night, like, they got into those series of fights and stuff, and it was just, again, it's just like Roman Reigns looks like a fucking bully. He's like trying to get, put me back in the qualifying match for fucking for the Money in the Bank. It's like, no, Roman, you fucking lost. You lost, you dirty son of a fucking bitch. Go wash your fucking hair and go back to Florida, man. The fans don't want to see you no more, motherfuckers. Yeah, dude. So then we, one of the positive things though that definitely did come out of this week's, in professional wrestling was definitely the Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens match for the Intercontinental Championship. Dude, seriously, again, your MVP right now in the WWE, the only saving grace to even worth paying any attention to any of this stuff at this point is Seth Rollins. I don't know what exactly he's done. Maybe it's just they're just letting him go out there and they're just letting him, wrestle instead of fucking cutting these, melodramatic storylines with Triple H and shit and like trying to do all this shit. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But he's getting the fuck over. And, Burn It Down is a fucking damn. I mean, at first it's just kind of like, burn it down. It's like, all right. But, just like these hands, like this shit gets over. It's just like, eventually it just gets over. That's how professional wrestling fucking works. And seeing him and Kevin Owens this past Monday, man, it just reminds me of how much I like Seth Rollins and how much I like Kevin Owens at that same time. I mean, Kevin Owens right now is kind of a little bit on a, a little bit of a fucking downturn. Not necessarily, I don't want to say downturn, but it's just like, it's definitely, shit's cooled off since last fall. Cause like going into last fall, Kevin Owens was definitely on the up and up in terms of being on SmackDown. The whole swerve with Sami Zayn at Hell in a Cell and Shane McMahon. I mean, they dragged that out as long as they could, and by the end of it, I don't think the payoff was as good as what it could have been. But that still at that point within the fall season there, dude, Kevin Owens, man, headbutting Vince McMahon, he was on fucking fire, and it's cooled off a little bit, but it feels like by the end of this night, it definitely feels like momentum is growing in his favor. I could definitely see a Kevin Owens walking into Money in the Bank because obviously Seth Rollins defeats Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Championship to retain. And then later in the evening, in our main event, we saw Bobby Lashley versus Elias versus a surprise opponent because Jinder Mahal was supposed to get a title, Money in the Bank qualifying chance, but unfortunately, due to Roman Reigns destroying him earlier in the show, was not able to make it. So we had a surprise entrant, which turned out to be Kevin Owens. Well, long story short, we saw Kevin Owens win the triple threat qualifying match, thus is qualified for Money in the Bank. And you always kind of equate the Money in the Bank briefcase to like the chicken shit heel, the person that's going to be able to cash in at the most unsuspecting moment, the dastardly heel, and that's what Kevin Owens is. So in on that sense, it's good to see him in the Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn, I don't know. Did we talk about? No, that was I was going to say, yeah, Sami Zayn is like doing great things right now. I think in terms of his promo, I thoroughly enjoy watching Sami Zayn week in and week out. If we want to talk about people that I personally I hope one day will win a WWE championship, is Sami Zayn. That's my Daniel Bryan at this point. Don't get me wrong, Daniel Bryan is my Daniel Bryan, but Sami Zayn is that underdog that I truly root for. Him and Kurt Hawkins, those are my two guys. I want both those guys to do great things. So if there's ever a chance, it's gonna happen. But we see Sami Zayn kind of pairing off with Bobby Lashley, and we got this whole thing about Bobby Lashley and his sisters. And and again, that's another thing. I'm kind of like, well, I guess we'll have just another wait and see approach in regards to where exactly that goes. But right now, it's pretty fucking cringeworthy, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty fucking cringeworthy. Braun Strowman and Finn Balor did take on Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, which I don't know how much we've really talked about Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre in the last couple of weeks, but man, I gotta say, future fucking main eventer Drew McIntyre, future world heavyweight champion Drew McIntyre, ladies and gentlemen, this guy is money. Him and Braun Strowman at a WrestleMania, imagine that, like a WrestleMania 36, 37, 38. Man, we're kind of getting into like a really weird time with professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, just in terms of like the transition, it is truly a changing of the guard time frame at this moment. And it's good to see. It's good to see that, there's as kind of on a cooling off phase. I think, WWE is at this moment. I really see the potential just moving forward for years to come with the amount of superstars that they have on the roster. Seeing Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, it's doing good for them at this point, just to put them together, establish them on the main roster, and then boom, we're going to see that breakup, and hopefully Drew McIntyre is just off to the races at that point, and is a future Royal Rumble winner. I don't know, man. Maybe he wins the Money in the Bank next year. Who the fuck knows? But man, make that guy a fucking heel. And Dolph Ziggler, it's great to see you in a tag team, and seeing you do well on Monday night, and hopefully eventually winning the tag team championships from Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, which I think that's your SummerSlam program, honestly, unless they pulled the trigger beforehand. I think that's your SummerSlam matchup is Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, versus Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, which Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre will rightfully win those titles and have a long, dominant reign until we see their eventual breakup. But seeing them this past Monday face off against the kind of the random team of Finn Balor and Braun Strowman, which is cool because it's got that whole big guy, little guy element to it. That's, to me personally, that's always been pretty fun to watch. Seeing the dynamics between a bigger person and a smaller person. I always enjoyed it when Shawn Michaels got on Diesel's, Kevin Nash's. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he'd stand on his shoulders and do the body. Oh God, doing the body fucking slam or whatever onto the body splash. I'm trying to think of the fucking name of the damn move. The body splash off his Kevin Nash's shoulders. So that's it's yeah. I love that dynamic. So it was good to see Drew McIntyre and them pick up the win. Again, you kind of would think that maybe they would lose, but it's good to see that they are pushing them forward, and they got a win over Braun Strowman and Finn Balor in 12:25. So yeah, Monday Night Raw, man. For the most part, it kind of feels like it was just kind of a throwaway show. We saw Alexa Bliss qualify for the Money in the Bank women's ladder match, which we haven't really talked too much about that. I know on this one, but that personally, I mean, it's cool. I don't know. I think Charlotte's gonna win, but at the same time, like it really could go either way. We saw Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt beat the Revival. Like to see the Revival do more, but I understand with a crowded roster, you gotta, fucking Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows can't get a break. Shit, feel bad for you motherfuckers over there. Fucking Scott Dawson and what the fuck is that? Scott Dash Wilder and fucking Scott Dawson. Yeah, motherfuckers. So, we go over to Tuesday night, and, Tuesdays are definitely becoming my favorite day of the week in terms of WWE programming, at least. Not even saying anything about NXT, which I really, it'd be awesome if we could, start covering that more. But at least for the time being, just watching WWE Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown is definitely by far my favorite show. It's got all my favorite fucking wrestlers on there. We saw Daniel Bryan just absolutely kick the shit out of Big fucking Cass. I don't know, man. Big Cass, another kind of wait and see project here. I mean, again, it's like talking about this change to the guard stuff, and it's like I think they see a lot of big things in Big Cass. Kind of the rumor and innuendo was that Big Cass had apparently taken some extra liberties in terms of I think it was like a week or two before Backlash, where he was in the ring with that like little fake Daniel Bryan guy, and apparently he went off script and fucking tried pulling some shit and did more shit that he was supposed to, and apparently that's why he tapped out so fucking fast, Daniel Bryan, at fucking Backlash, and wasn't even on SmackDown last week, was due to the fact that he apparently went off script. But if that's the case, then he's in the fucking doghouse, and that's why fucking Daniel Bryan just whooped the shit out of him to begin SmackDown, which honestly, best showing of Daniel Bryan since his comeback, I think, this last Tuesday. You got to give him total fucking credit on that. He just came in intense, killed it. You could tell he's a fucking motivated man at this point. And I understand a lot of people are like, well, he hasn't really done anything. Well, it's been like 2 months, okay. And I mean, I think a good equation for this is like kind of comparing it to when Chris Jericho came back in 2007. I kind of think that Chris Jericho, I think a lot of people felt that Chris Jericho was just kind of spinning his wheels there up until his heel turn, and him and Shawn Michaels in that program back in 2008. That's kind of where Chris Jericho started becoming the Chris Jericho, putting together, that back half of his career and shit was back, upon that return. So, honestly, again, it's another wait and see approach. And this last Tuesday was definitely a step in the right direction for the character of Daniel Bryan. So we saw New Day versus The Bar. It was kind of a fun stipulation, I guess. So the winner of this tag match would be able to select a member of their team to be in the Money in the Bank. So it's basically essentially a Money in the Bank qualifying match, which is cool. I mean, because it's nice to see what they've been doing lately. I mean, instead of just doing one-on-one matches, which those are always fun. Tournament matches are great. I love fucking one-on-one matches like that. But it's nice to see the triple threat and like the fatal four ways, or in this case here, a tag match. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen something like that before. But the New Day get the win. And another nice thing that I noticed this week was on SmackDown, they definitely left everything kind of like in terms of they didn't blow their fucking load and tell you which New Day member was going to be in Money in the Bank. So we, and again, they're trying to stretch out TV. We still got a couple weeks until the pay-per-view, and it makes sense. It makes sense to do that. So personally, I think it'd be cool as shit to see Big E go in. Because like Xavier or Kofi, I don't really see them winning, but I see that Big E is kind of like would be their go to, not necessarily go to, but a pet project in a sense, to see who can really step out. But watch, it's Xavier Woods that's going to be the world heavyweight champion. He's going to turn out and just be a fucking badass as a singles wrestler. But we never know. I don't know. That wouldn't be too bad. See, okay, I'm gonna add him to that too. Okay, so if I have three guys, my three undercard guys that you have no business winning world championships, ever. But these are my three dream picks: is Xavier Woods, Kurt Hawkins, and Sami Zayn. I'm calling it, dude. I love Xavier Woods, man. Up, up, down, down is a fun fucking show. And that guy, kudos to that guy and his fucking success, man. I've been watching that guy since he was in TNA and shit, dude. I loved his character in TNA, and it's good to see, it's just good to see him succeed with all the hard work and stuff. It's good to see that type of shit get paid off there. So we also saw the Bludgeon Brothers basically having a backstage vignette, basically telling everybody that they can come and play. So, cool. Like it's neat. I mean, you can't put everybody on TV every week, so it's nice to see the World Tag Team Champions included. And this is nice. Like, I don't know, this whole Brock Lesnar being gone. Like, I don't know. You don't always have to see you didn't always see Ric Flair wrestle on, NWA Saturday Night or WCW Saturday Night or whatever. And same with Hulk Hogan. And this whole Attitude Era and everything, we saw kind of that change. We saw The Rock every Monday. We saw Stone Cold every Monday. But, that only lasted like a 5-year period if you really kind of go back and think about it. I mean, the overexposure rate at this point is just so fucking high with everything that's seeing the tag team champions in a backstage vignette, basically just telling everybody, hey man, we're going to fuck you up. That's cool, man. I totally digged it. So I totally dug it. You don't need to see them every week. So basically from here, we see WWE SmackDown Live General Manager Paige. She's shown and basically announces that tonight there will be a women's Money in the Bank qualifying match that actually features Becky Lynch versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. So yeah, we got Absolution, kind of like the slow breakup of Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. I mean, it's already broke it up, obviously, with Paige being the general manager, but it's good to see Paige, doing well, man. I really hope that she, has her shit together and is able to, live a good life and, be productive and shit. And, being the general manager of SmackDown, I mean, that's not a bad gig. You're getting paid some pretty good money to hang out, and have some fun, man. So definitely take that shit seriously and, fucking kill it, Paige. So from here, we learn that AJ Styles has an advanced knowledge of some quirky type of matches in terms of different, because basically Renee interviews AJ Styles, and it's a fun interview. AJ Styles is definitely better on he's become really good on his promos, I think. Same with Samoa Joe. Since coming to the WWE, they're very, polished and complete professional wrestlers. Promos and wrestling in the ring and all. And it's nice that it was, so the whole thing with him and Shinsuke Nakamura, it was announced that they were going to wrestle on Tuesday, and the winner of the match gets to pick the stipulation for their match at Money in the Bank. Which, we've been pretty fucking critical on the storyline, and I really hope that we get a fucking clean finish at Money in the Bank. We saw Shinsuke ultimately win on SmackDown. We don't, and again, going back to them not blowing their fucking load and whatnot, we will find out exactly what the match is, which I was calling immediately a last man standing match, outside of Backlash. I was like, oh, well, that's obvious, last man standing match, but maybe it's something else. I don't know. We'll see what happens next Tuesday and find out exactly where that is going. But ultimately, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. It's just, I want to be like, I like this. I enjoy anything that Shinsuke and fucking, AJ Styles are going to do. But, with all these, shitty fucking endings, it's hard to really kind of get behind that. So, again, we'll wait and see what happens at Money in the Bank. But I'm really hoping Shinsuke, they pull the fucking trigger and Shinsuke defeats AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. So we also saw the debut of Andre Cien Almas on the Blue brand on SmackDown. So it was very nice to see that Selena Vega was making her debut as well with Andrade. So him beating a local wrestler, it's it's just you're establishing him. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not meant to be big, but and I reckon to John Pollock, listening to the post Raw or SmackDown review this last week. John Pollock had a really good point. It's just when you compare, a debuting Cien Almas from NXT and having a wonderful run on NXT, is becoming world champion down there in Florida and just really thriving when a lot of people had written him off. Like a year ago, 2 years ago, people were writing this guy off, and he really, just really proved himself and just shows that he has potential. And like and here he comes on the main roster, and it's just notorious. The main roster is notorious for just taking anything that was special about somebody within the confines of NXT and just completely destroying it. I mean, Tyler Breeze, you know what I mean? Like you probably have more Tyler Breezes compared to your Seth Rollins in terms of main event wrestlers that are coming off this, but nonetheless, we see Cien Almas debut against a local wrestler and defeating him. And then again, I mean, that's wrestling 101. You establish your new guy on TV by an easy win match. I mean, look what they did with Braun Strowman. Look what they did with Nia Jax. Look what they're doing with Authors of Pain, Bludgeon Brothers. I mean, you feed them jobbers. But then you kind of take a look back at other federations, as in, i.e., New Japan, and they had a debuting new member of the Bullet Club. And, this just shows how unprepared I am, because, like, Bone Crusher, I think his name's the Bone Crusher, and I forget his Japanese name, but he's a junior heavyweight wrestler. And so they debuted him, and he completely destroyed Will Ospreay, apparently. And that it's just like the idea of what John Pollock was saying was that you have a guy that you think has potential. Why not tell the audience exactly why you believe this guy has potential and debut him in a top spot and let him destroy your United States heavyweight champion Jeff Hardy? Or you know what I mean though, like maybe not the world championship obviously, because there's plans there, but like what the fuck, where was Jeff Hardy this week? So I don't know. I thought that was a very interesting point in terms of kind of the difference between how New Japan would book an incoming talent compared to how WWE the main brand is moving forward. So, in somewhat of a surprise, we saw Becky Lynch win the Triple Threat Money in the Bank women's qualifying match and is advancing to the Money in the Bank. Which again, Becky Lynch, I've been very upfront in regards to I like her. I think she's a good fucking wrestler. I like her music. I like her style. She is probably my favorite women's wrestler on the brand, honestly. I just maybe it's something about somebody with some orange hair and from Ireland or whatever. Maybe that accent gets me. I don't know, man. But seeing her win, that's my dark horse pick for the Money in the Bank. Here the next couple of weeks. So I'm really hoping that we can go forward into Money in the Bank and that we just have an overall better show compared to what we got with Backlash this last month here, because that just going back to that, man, I mean, we just kind of come back and we're just what's the word, we're coming off that WrestleMania hangover and whatnot, and it's just really kind of hoping for a good summer for WWE, I suppose. I think that's kind of like my main thought on that. It's just I'm really hoping that we have some hot programs and that we're able to move towards SummerSlam and just have a really good show. So we have our updated card here for Money in the Bank. We're going to see Bobby Roode. Oh yeah, that's right. Bobby Roode qualified for the Money in the Bank qualifying match. That shows how much anybody gives a shit about fucking Bobby Roode at this point. Yeah, we saw Bobby Roode, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rusev, The Miz, and we have 2 spots left, which is either going to Big E, Kofi Kingston, or Xavier Woods, being the New Day, beating the Bar this week. But then announced for next week, and again, kudos to SmackDown for advertising what's going on next week. We got Big Cass facing off against Samoa Joe for the final spot on the Money in the Money in the Bank match here, which is kind of an interesting pairing. I mean, Big Cass is supposed to be a bad guy, and Samoa Joe I thought was supposed to be a bad guy too. So we got 2 heels fighting for that final spot. Which if I'm putting in my prediction now, I'm calling Samoa Joe on that. I think there's no business of Big Cass going into it, especially after just getting his ass handed to him by Daniel Bryan. And plus, I could definitely see another match between Daniel Bryan and Big Cass on the pay-per-view itself. So I would probably give it to Samoa Joe in terms of that final spot. Very, very interesting kind of match here in terms of the layout. I mean, there's a lot of potential people that, at least when you kind of break it down in terms of, winners. The most obvious one would be Braun Strowman. I don't really think they're going to pull the trigger on Braun Strowman, honestly. I mean, you'd see Roman Reigns in the match in years past, and it's like, oh, Roman Reigns is going to win, but they'd always swerve you or whatever. So I don't really think, Braun Strowman's going to win. I don't think Bobby Roode's going to win. Definitely not Bobby Roode. Finn Balor, I think, is a crowd favorite, but again, that it's a possibility that Finn Balor may win it, but I don't know. Kevin Owens or Rusev. Again, my official pick, I really do think Kevin Owens is going to take it. I really do think Kevin Owens would be well fitted to carry around that briefcase. The Miz doesn't need it. It'd be interesting, again, if they threw in one of the New Day members and one of the New Day members actually won it and just propel, a Big E to, that next main event level. I think that would be, it definitely would be interesting to see one of them actually win it. If Samoa Joe gets thrown in there, just the way they've been booking him, I'm sorry. It's like Cody made mention of this here. It was like he's not winning anything. It's kind of lackluster. So really, it'd be awesome to see Samoa Joe take it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So I think it's gonna we're either looking at the dark horse of a New Day member winning or Kevin Owens pulling it out. I think those are kind of my picks there. In the women's match, officially we have Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Ember Moon, and then we actually have quite a few spots left open in the women's. They're definitely leaving this one to the end. But apparently Billie Kay or Lana are going to be fighting each other, it looks like, based on what's showing up here. So that looks to be a qualifying match for the future, which, Lana is hot as shit, so let's give it to Lana. I'd rather see Lana on my screen. Billie Kay, you're pretty too, but fucking A, Lana. I love following you on Instagram. I'm just going to put that out there. For being a PG company, damn, you sure as hell don't treat your social media the same. So then again, we have AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, a singles match for the WWE Championship with a stipulation to be determined. I know I've been saying this for months at this point, but I really hope they just pull the fucking trigger on Shinsuke, give him the title win, and let's move on at that point. Let's let new challengers come up. But part of me wants to see AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe as well. So, I mean, if that were the case, I wouldn't bitch or complain if AJ Styles, just let there be a fucking winner and let them have a good match. That's what I want to see, like a 25, 30-minute classic. I want to see a classic, WWE. Come on. This is what I want to see. So then again, we also have Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey for the Women's Championship. Wait and see approach, ladies and gentlemen. Wait and see approach. We're going to see what happens. And it was also announced on SmackDown this last week that Carmella will be facing Asuka in a singles match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, which, again, if they're really running with Carmella, I don't see Carmella losing the title at Money in the Bank. But if Asuka ends up winning it, this whole thing that they've done with Charlotte, Asuka, and Carmella, it just it completely fucking baffles me because it's just like you're trying to build up Charlotte Flair and then she loses to Carmella and then Asuka loses for no fucking reason because it makes it, to me, in my opinion, it just kind of makes everybody look bad. But whatever. It'd be awesome to see Asuka. Eventually, she's gonna win the championship. This whole beat her down and build her back up bullshit, I guess, is what they're fucking doing. So I don't really think Carmella's gonna lose it, but it's always great to see Asuka in the ring. I love watching Asuka matches. So that's our Money in the Bank. Yeah, man, we still got a couple weeks away, dude. We still got qualifying matches for those women. Shit, dude. Yeah, that's WWE for this week, guys. Oh shit, dude. Whoa, we just got through it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, totally. If you're checking out other professional wrestling, dude, totally recommend watching New Japan. The Super Junior tournament just started. I believe tonight was the first day. This evening at 3:00 in the morning Western time for us over here. So, if you're paying attention to that, man, that's totally what's up right now. I think that's definitely worth checking out. Again, support Ring of Honor, support Impact Wrestling, support Lucha Underground. Season 4 is coming out here soon. Support professional wrestling, man. Wrestling lives forever. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna call this one in the ring and definitely end this episode on a positive note. It's good to have a positive episode after the last couple of weeks. I know me and Cody, we've been pretty fucking negative on the product, but I think we came out of a positive week here in terms of Monday Night Raw and development of storylines and moving towards the Money in the Bank, which dude should definitely be like one of the funnest times of the year for wrestling fans. I mean, it's always fun to see wrestlers elevated, unless you're Baron Corbin. Fuck. Don't need to see Baron Corbin ever again. Vince, get him out. Get him out. Tell him to shave his head. Send him to Mexico. Have him hair versus mask match, man. I want Baron Corbin losing that stuff in the ring. I want that head shaved, son. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I am Kevin Porter. Thank you for listening to us. You can find us, rate us, subscribe to us on pretty much all major platforms: Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, and iTunes. And hey, man, if you're listening to us on iTunes, man, go ahead and give us those 5 stars and rate us, man. That definitely helps us out, and it's definitely nice to see that. It's nice to see and get positive feedback. And hey, if you got a little bit of criticism, totally let us know that too, man. So totally let us know. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, I am Kevin Porter, and we will see you next time, America.